What happened? The Big Bang? Dinosaurs, bipeds, and mounting sense of futility.
Scanning for audio.
Welcome once again to a Tin Dog podcast. It's Saturday night, and we've all just watched The Girl Who Died. Except, of course, that's not what it's probably going to be called in most people's heads. It's going to be called The One Without Brian Blessed. This week, or at least recently, Brian Blessed was in the news. So much so that he started, well, let's call it trending on social media. Of course, the minute you see somebody's name pop up on any sort of computerized system, you think, oh God, the worst has happened. But no, Brian Blessed, King Yrcanus himself, had delivered a baby in a park. There are more graphic notes that I'm sure you can look up in your own time. Now, this is the one where Brian was meant to be playing, well, Odin. But of course he wasn't very well. So they got some other bloke in, who did a perfectly good job. But every time he spoke, you can't help but think, oh, how would Brian have done this? That's not very nice. Not on the guy who was, not Brian. So let's have a proper look at The Girl Who Died, without thinking, how would they have got away with it being Brian? Because the Doctor would have remembered King Yrcanus, unless there would have been a throwaway line. And can we ask Mr. Moffat what the throwaway line would have been? Oh, it's a hologram. Did you model yourself on the most fearsome warrior in the universe? Oh yes, you did. Something along those lines. But that's not important. What is important is this is perhaps one of my all-time favourite Doctor Who stories. Yes, I'm not particularly fond of the ending, but that's mainly because I've got to wait a whole week to watch episode 2. Oh, I'm practically a teenager with my stampy foot attitudes to cliffhangers, or at least part 1, part 2, change the narrative over, yes, they're linked, but leave it there. So let's not retread old ground by just going, I don't like cliffhangers, because I do like cliffhangers. What I don't like is having to wait. Well, you know what? Boo-hoo. That's the nature of reality. You have to wait for an emotional payoff. What a shame. Never mind. But of course, that's not the important thing. The important thing, by far, is the opening few seconds. Yes, like me, you probably did a little cheer when the sonic glasses got smashed. Now yes, admittedly they did work throughout the entire story and provided the Doctor with one working half of sunglasses that made them look like an eye patch, which gave them the wisdom of Odin, and I'll talk about the wisdom of Odin in a moment. But you know what, as the glasses got smashed and fell to the floor, my wife turned to me and said, "You've always liked Vikings, haven't you?" And she's right, I have always liked Vikings. And the idea of a Doctor Who story that's got Vikings, well, let's face it, I like Dark Horizons. And if you do like Doctor Who and Vikings, go off and read Jenny Colgan's rather good Dark Horizons. But that's not what we're here to review either. Oh no, we're here to talk about a particularly great Doctor Who story. At least that's in my view. But then again, I like Robot of Sherwood, so the chances are, just as highly, that the rest of the world's going, no, it's not as good. I don't think so, though. I can't possibly say that would be the case. Am I getting ahead of myself? Am I failing to read any cohesive argument in my notes? Perhaps. So let's, as always, have a look at what's written down in all of the multicoloured pages before me. Oh, a little thing, a little prediction. It's been said by Mr. Moffat that he's got a one-hander Doctor Who story. Now this one-hander is basically just the Doctor on screen. No, that's not what he said. Listen to what he actually said. It's Capaldi on screen for the entire time. Think about it. Think about last week's mention of, well, the Minister of War. Yes, this week, this whole business with this is the reason I've got this face, there could be another reason, and this other reason would be the Minister of War from, say, the Torchwood series. Capaldi's playing two parts. He's meeting himself and taking himself down. That's going to be a massive challenge. That's the challenge that he spoke of. That is me speculating wildly. Oh, I am a Doctor Who fan. Of course I am. So it's just a thought. It is the sort of thing that, of course, wins awards. But then again, the last time Matt Smith got to act with himself, well, that was a Cyberman story that many people just don't rate. So, now that I've got that random bit of speculation out of the way, let's get back to reviewing this story, the one at hand, shall we? Yes, I've covered up the broken glasses, and the fact that they got smashed, well, that kind of makes up for the fact that we haven't kept last week's theme tune. How long will it take me to go back through every single copy of every single episode of Doctor Who and put last week's wonderful guitar theme over all of the Capaldi openings? A couple of weeks? Yeah. So yeah, you've got Odin, you've got the eye patch, you've got the fact that Brian's not in this. No, let it go. You really need to let it go. And you've got those little aliens with the mouths. Oh, getting back to Torchwood and the Children of Earth. Did anyone else think that these could be the 4, 5, 6 in uniform earlier? Because they're addicted to, harvesting people in a kind of Quatermassy kind of a way, just like they were in Torchwood. But this time they're in spacesuits to protect themselves, and they've got that kind of shaped head, and they are after, well, testosterone and the huge mixture of chemicals that come out from the young. In this case, it's testosterone and the like, but you know the sort of thing. So yeah, the harvesting idea has been done to death, but you know what? It has been done to death in sci-fi. It's not just Doctor Who that's been doing these things. It's kind of another reason to invade, or at least attack. And yes, I know there's going to be a lot of people out there going, "Ooh, aliens pretending to be crap gods. Oh, it's so Star Trek." Yeah, it is, but you know what? It's Von Daniken. It's higher technology. And that speech about the gates of the slaughterhouse, well, as a cynic, it made me go, this guy's got a point. And yeah, Clara's defence is brilliant, but you know what? I'm not dealing with the elephant in the room. And that's, well, let's call her Arya for sake of argument. As well you know, I haven't actually seen a single episode of Game of Thrones. I'm waiting until I've read all the books, and I am up to date, and then I'm going to go back. But I am not an idiot. I am familiar with who's in it. And I am familiar with the fact that Maisie Williams Shielder is playing Arya, who is one of my favourite characters in the book. I can see why they hired her. She's great. And her performance in this, it feels so much more real than you've come across in certain other performances. There is a complete honesty, not just in her face, but in the performance, something that really needs to be nurtured. And I was hoping that she'd stay on as the companion, perhaps being met in the wrong order. But of course, she can't be the new companion. Well, she can be. The actress is very, very young. And the problem with casting a very, very young actress or actor as an immortal is that they start aging, and of course they're not meant to age as immortals. They've got round that in Torchwood by having Captain Jack being, 4,000 years old and aging slightly, having a little bit grey around the temples in order to sort that one out. And of course now he's moved to audio, the guy could be 200 and still playing the part. So perhaps she will stay. But that business about the immortality, I need to come back to at the end, because I need to deal with the whole of the rest of the story first. Oh, there was a throwaway line halfway through, where Clara turns to the Doctor and says,
"You've made an impact there."
Stop it.
Oh, she's nice. Fight you for her.
This can be compared with the stuff from episode 1, where Clara referred to a rather famous English author as being a decent kisser. Now, yeah, this is kind of a throwaway remark as far as I was concerned, but for a lot of people out there, this sort of thing really matters. I was listening to Radio Free Skaro very recently, and in that episode, the actress who plays Clara was interviewed, and then the audience in the auditorium started asking questions. They asked this.
"Hi, it's been hinted that Clara might be bisexual. What's your view on that?"
And then a few seconds later, they asked this.
This is about the first episode of season 9.
Yeah.
Where you had that line about Jane Austen.
Yes.
And then you also had another one in Asylum of the Daleks when
Yes.
you were Oswin.
Yes.
So is Clara bisexual?
Now, either Canadian girls are fixated on this sort of thing, or I've just missed the boat and just not spotted it. I'm not saying that there's some sort of RTD-style agenda going on. It's just a storyline I'd completely missed. I didn't think it was that important. And to be honest, I still don't think it's that important. But, if you're that way inclined, perhaps seeing yourself reflected in TV on a character that you love and, well, yeah, actually seeing yourself reflected on telly is an important thing. So yeah, well done, Moff, if that's the direction you're moving in. And if you're not, oh, farewell, it got a laugh. Maisie Williams' character is brilliant. I have a soft spot for Vikings, as well as said, but I've also got a massive soft spot for storytellers. It's a storytelling psychic, trapped in a strange world. You're going to adore this character straight off. Shorthand to the heart straight off, not a problem. On the subject of shorthand, my wife did turn to me at one point and say, oh, they're not going to have a montage of crap fighting, are they? But you know what? Some people haven't seen a bad montage of training. And that's not what we got. This was the first example of tell, don't show, but show the aftermath. That works. It produced some of the best lines in the series. Naming all of the characters was fantastic. Heidi, Lofty, Ain't Half Hot Mum, and of course Limpy, and of course, best of all, Noggin the Nog. Oh, anyone who knows how much I adore animation. Oh, it's a sideline, it's a waffle. It's me going off at a tangent. It's what you've come to expect from the Tin Dog podcast at its best, and that's fine. That was a masterclass in giving characters names and giving the Doctor something to do. So it defined the Doctor, but it also saved the writer from having to bother. It's a win-win situation all round. So getting back to Odin and Viking legends and the sort of thing that, entertains and educates, Doctor Who's basic remit, yeah, that's the sort of thing we're playing with here. And yes, more Douglas Adams-based fun with Mr. Odin and Long Dark Tea Time of the Soul, someone who gives up their eye patch so that they can have wisdom. It's brilliant. It's so telling. It's got so many layers to it. And that's one of the things this series has definitely got. Metaphors for different levels of perception just work. And anything that's got puppets and a massive wooden dragon is always going to get my vote. I don't care if anybody else likes this, but I just can't see it happening. Yes, this might be known in your head for half an hour as the one that could have had Brian Blessed in it, but it isn't. It's the one with the Vikings, the one with the great storyline, the one, admittedly, with the eels. What is it about eels and Vikings? Do you do a certain amount of research and just go, that's enough? Let's just reference How to Train Your Dragon, where you've got a whole issue with eels going on. Eels sort out many problems, and it's not worth going into. What is worth going into is that when the alien spaceship shot up into the air and flew off in a huff, my wife went, "Ooh, that's a bit shoddy." Has anyone said that about a spaceship in Doctor Who for a while? And I'm not looking directly at you, Robert of Sherwood. No, a shoddy Doctor Who model. That wasn't even a model? Perhaps she is the example of the not we judging, because I've always thought Doctor Who models were good. Perhaps it's a blind spot. Perhaps I need my eyes checked. Perhaps I just have faith in the people at the BBC. So what are we left with in the end? We're left with a Next Time trailer dealing with highwaymen, highwaywomen, a plot taken straight from Blackadder, and an extra chip that apparently will give her a companion. I've got a sneaky suspicion it's the chip that'll let you switch yourself off. Why does the Doctor always go too far? Hey, this is the chip that'll bring you back to life. Okay, use the chip, bring her back to life, take the chip away. Or give it a certain length of time, or let it just repair her the once, and then she's on her own after that. These are the things that you really could be going with, Doctor. Oh no, let's just fiddle with it and make her immortal. Yes, that business where the Doctor has to deal with, I've made a hybrid. Oh, let's mention it again. I don't really care. No, I'm very, very happy just going on with this series as it goes from strength to strength. So thank you, BBC, you're providing us with something simply marvellous. And with that, I'll fade away and speak to you all very soon, probably about Doctor Who. Be seeing you. You've been listening to the Doctor Who Tin Dog podcast. Available on RSS, iTunes, Audioboom, Tumblr, and wherever podcasts are found. Why not become a supporter of the show by visiting patreon.com/tindog? Doctor Who and its associated properties are copyright of the BBC and no infringement is intended. To contact the show, email tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.